The story unfolds in Night City, beginning with a top-down view of neon-lit skyscrapers overlooking Corporal Plaza to a crime scene, accompanied by a voice-over conversation between cops. Norris, heavily augmented with cyberware, goes berserk, killing a cop and attacking others. Max Stack eventually hacks into Norris's system and neutralizes him. This intense sequence is revealed to be a Braindon's BD, a recorded memory, watched by David Martinez in his mother's apartment. David learns that the BD was edited by the renowned Jimmy Kurosaki. The next morning, David is seen contemplating his school uniform, reflecting the mundane amidst the high-tech city. His mother, Gloria, an emergency medical technician, discusses with him the need for a legal update for his class, contrasting with his preference for an illicit route suggested by his contact, Doc. Their conversation is interrupted by news reporting Norris's death and missing cyberware, which visibly disturbs Gloria. David's journey through Night City's crowded streets to Arasaka Academy is marked by a brief encounter with a mysterious white-haired girl. At the academy, he faces the challenges of a hierarchical and technologically advanced society. He boasts about his illicit means of obtaining a tech update, but this leads to a disastrous outcome during a meditation session, causing system damage and bringing further trouble. The narrative then takes a turn as Gloria and David find themselves in the principal's office, confronted with the consequences of David's actions.
We have a problem!
The principal questions their financial capability and suggests David should leave the academy, a suggestion Gloria vehemently opposes. Their tense journey home is abruptly disrupted by an ambush from the animals' gang, resulting in a car crash and severe injuries. The exclusionary policies of the city are highlighted as the trauma team refuses to aid them due to their non-client status. In a desperate move, David manages to get his injured mother to a hospital. David's challenges escalate when he returns to find their apartment locked due to overdue rent. Breaking in, he discovers the missing cyberware, Norris's Sandevistan, among his mother's belongings. An attempt to sell it to Doc for a fair price fails, leaving David with more questions than answers. The story progresses as David confronts further adversity at school, culminating in a violent encounter with Katsuo Tanaka, a fellow student. The news of his mother's demise adds to his woes, leading him to a path of grief and anger. In a turn of events, David, now alone and struggling, considers the potential of the Sandevistan cyberware he discovered.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Facing mockery and despair, he contemplates using the cyberware for revenge, setting the stage for a deeper exploration of morality and survival in the harsh landscape of Night City. David Martinez, after watching the recorded memories of Lieutenant Colonel James Norris in a braindance, insists on getting Norris Sandevistan cyberware implanted by Doc, a Ripper Doc. Despite warnings about the implant's intensity, Doc performs the surgery. Post-surgery, David, with bloodstains on his EMT jacket, returns to Arasaka Academy. His AI teacher reprimands him, and Katsuo Tanaka, a fellow student, mocks him. In response, David uses the Sandevistan to move at high speed, unnoticed, and violently attacks Katsuo, breaking his nose. The assault is recorded on video. Walking through the sunny streets, David bursts into laughter, attracting bystanders' attention. He then returns to his mother's apartment to clean his blood-stained jacket. Meanwhile, Katsuo's father, prioritizing his company over his son, watches the video of the assault. A man named Marcus identifies David as the attacker and suggests he could be a candidate to test their product. Ignoring a call from his school principal, David heads out into Night City again. On the NCART, he notices a girl with white hair pickpocketing passengers. Using his implant, he slows down time to catch her, only to be pulled aside and slam into a train wall by her. She identifies herself as Lucy, and realizing David has the illegal Sandevistan, proposes a partnership in pickpocketing, especially targeting Arasaka employees. Their successful heist ends with David collapsing from a nosebleed. Lucy calls an ambulance, but the EMT, realizing David's lack of insurance, tries to exploit him for the valuable implant. Lucy intervenes, leading to a chaotic escape on a stretcher through the city. At Docks, it's revealed that the stress of using the implant so frequently is dangerous. Despite the risks and limited medication, David refuses to remove the implant. Lucy, waiting outside, discusses business and debts with him, inviting him to her apartment. There, she reprograms his mother's jacket to display Edgerunners, explaining it as another term for cyberpunk. As they share personal stories and dreams, Lucy reveals her desire to leave Night City for the moon. They briefly immerse in a mood simulation before being interrupted by a call from Maine, a gang member demanding the return of the Sandevistan. In Lucy's apartment, David Martinez faces a tense confrontation with Maine and his gang members, Dorio and Pilar. Maine, suspecting betrayal, is shocked to learn David is the son of Gloria, his contact who recently died in a gang-related traffic accident. David's revelation about his mother touches Maine despite his threatening demeanor. To prove the Sandivistan's capabilities, David performs a quick demonstration by deftly stealing and replacing Pillar's cigarette. Impressed, Maine decides to take David under his wing as an apprentice, but David feels betrayed by Lucy and leaves, dejected. Alone in his mother's apartment, David broods over Gloria's urn, lost in grief. The next morning, he dismissively rejects a voicemail from the principal of Arasaka Academy, praising his academic performance and offering a chance to return with a scholarship, conditional upon apologizing for his attack on Katsuo Tanaka. Maine summons David to a warehouse where he meets the gang, including a new member named Kiwi. David is tasked with a heist to obtain navigation data from Maxim Kuznetsov, an Arasaka bodyguard. The plan involves manipulating Maxim at a bar named Jack and Coke after a rigged boxing match. However, the heist goes awry and David, unable to extract the data in time, is forced to flee with Lucy in Maxim's car, pursued by Tiger Claw gang members. A high-speed chase ensues, culminating in a traffic jam where David's Sandivistan allows them to narrowly escape. The pursuit ends with Maine rescuing them by eliminating the remaining Tiger Claw attacker. Despite the heist's failure, the gang, including David, celebrates at a bar. Maine advises David to augment his body further to better handle the Sandivistan. The celebration is interrupted by the arrival of Faraday, a top fixer, who chastises Maine for botching the heist and renders the acquired data useless. Faraday's cryptic instructions about their target, Tanaka, leave the crew in suspense. The night winds down with David feeling uneasy about the events and Faraday's ominous presence. He observes Peeler getting closer to Lucy and is welcomed to the crew by Rebecca. David defiantly responds to the principal's earlier message, refusing to apologize and abruptly ending the call. Searching for Lucy at the party, he discovers she is left with Peeler, deepening his sense of isolation and uncertainty about his new life in the world of Night City's Edgerunners. At night, in the Afterlife Club, Dorio and Maine discuss their elusive target, Tanaka. She and Maine then caress each other passionately, but their romance is interrupted by a call from David Martinez. David urges Maine that he wants to learn more from him, and Maine reluctantly agrees but sends the boy to Aldo, where he has to pick up a package for Pilar. When he arrives at the address, he's welcomed unconventionally by Rebecca, who turns out to be Pilar's sister. Pilar is overjoyed by the new golden cyber hands. David leaves the apartment and receives a call from Lucy. She begins training David, and it turns out it was Maine who talked her into that. The following scenes then show the crew at various odd jobs working and hanging out together. These action sequences are sometimes interrupted by calmer scenes at Aldo's. Maine mentions the boy's interest in Lucy, but David is not sure if these feelings are mutual. David then improves himself even more. The whole crew is in a merry mood out on the street. Pilar suddenly is enraged by an obviously deranged man, who's peeing down from a container into a barrel. Pilar is shot into the head in front of the others. David can't act in this moment and just freezes, but Maine is able to kick him aside to save him from the man's attack. Rebecca, without caring for her safety, starts firing her guns. Maine orders Kiwi to knock her out before she gets killed in her incredible rage. David uses the Sandivistan to save Lucy by shooting the crazy man, but he's taking one last chance to attack again. Maine eventually kills the cyber psycho. David and Lucy are together in a calm, romantic Night City scene in front of the moon. They finally kiss in this scene, which is ending with his promise to bring her to the moon. Maine and David are in the Edgerunner's headquarters, feeling unsettled by Pilar's sudden death. Pilar's remains, including the golden cyber hands received in Lucky You, lay on the table before them. QB joins them, just out of the tub from a data scanning session. She has gathered information about their target, Tanaka. Maine is surprised to hear from Kiwi about David's past at Arasaka Academy, where he was in the same class as Tanaka's son. Kiwi also reveals Tanaka's keen interest in the works of someone with the initials JK, which David identifies as Braindon's editor Jimmy Kurosaki. They hatch a plan to kidnap Tanaka during his visit to Kurosaki's studio. Kiwi discovers Jimmy's reservation at Embers, and they start preparing their strategy. Their first step is to capture Jimmy Kurosaki and persuade him to join their cause. They attempt to kidnap him from the parking deck, but Kurosaki defends himself with an EMP weapon, disabling most of the crew. In a twist, Kurosaki kidnaps David and speeds away to his studio. Only Lucy and Dorio, unaffected by the EMP, are able to chase after him in their car. As he endures the torment, Lucy and Dorio rush to his rescue. They face an unexpected challenge as Jimmy activates 2 drones to defend his studio. With David distracting the drones, Lucy skillfully hacks into their systems. In the heat of the moment, Jimmy is forced to acknowledge Lucy's impressive hacking skills. Impressed and realizing he's outmatched, he agrees to assist the Edgerunners and go along with their plan. In a rare moment of calm, Jimmy opens up to David. He shares insights about his process of acquiring fresh material for his BDs and cautions David about the dangers of cyberware implants. The Edgerunner's next step in their plan is straightforward. They aim to entice Tanaka to Jimmy's studio at the offer of an exclusive special braindance BD. However, he soon realizes it's a trap as he finds himself encircled by the Edgerunners. In a desperate attempt to defend himself, Tanaka activates a hidden weapon in his hands, releasing a barrage of needles. Despite these challenges, Main manages to overpower Tanaka, taking him down with a decisive, powerful punch. They hastily flee the scene, taking the subdued Tanaka with them. The camera focuses on a lone runner crossing the immense, scorching expanse. This runner is revealed to be a younger Main, notably without any visible cybernetic enhancements. Dorio's voice interrupts this memory or daydream, pulling Main back to reality. His hands, trembling and unreliable, fail to grasp a packet of food Dorio hands him, dropping it to the floor. Dorio is visibly concerned for Main, but he insists he's fine despite relying heavily on medicine to stabilize his cybernetic arm. Nearby, Kiwi is deeply engrossed in a complex data session while submerged in a bathtub. David observes Main's uncharacteristically aggressive behavior with concern. This tension escalates when Main, in a fit of cyber-psychotic rage, brutally attacks Kiwi, leaving her unconscious. In a desperate bid to continue their mission, the crew contacts Lucy, urging her to take over the data session. Initially hesitant and fearful, Lucy agrees to join only after David promises to support her throughout the process. Tanaka regains consciousness before David can administer another tranquilizer. He engages in a conversation with David, revealing that he was responsible for David's reinstatement at the academy. Meanwhile, Lucy successfully accesses the data but unexpectedly encounters David's personal information during the download. Main and Dorio, realizing Tanaka is awake, are thrown into a panic. Main hastily takes the tranquilizer from David, but before he can act, Tanaka is suddenly electrocuted. The team manages to save Lucy and revive Tanaka, but Dorio alerts them that their jammer used to block Trauma Team's signals. In a swift move, David activates his Sandevistan, speeding Lucy to their car on the parking deck. Upon awakening, Lucy reveals to David a shocking truth. The operation is a scam, and Tanaka's data is not as crucial as they believed. At the same time, Main and Dorio, still convinced of Tanaka's importance, struggle to move him amidst a chaotic shootout involving the Trauma Team and NCPT. Months later, the crew, now under David's command, gears up for a critical mission to rescue Isabella Morgan, the daughter of a wealthy figure. They are an armored vehicle driven by Falco, with the addition of a new member, Giulio. Their mission is to infiltrate a heavily guarded facility filled with armed gang members and automated defenses. Leveraging Kiwi's hacking prowess, Becca's combat skills, and David's Sandevistan, they successfully overpower the gang. However, the victory is marred by tragedy when Giulio, despite warnings, accidentally triggers an explosive trap and is killed. The crew's efficiency impresses their contact, Wakako. Celebrating their success, Becca proudly shows off her new cyber hands. Amidst the revelry, David and Kiwi ponder Lucy's absence and her reluctance to rejoin the team. The plot takes a turn when Faraday approaches David at the Afterlife bar with a proposition from Militech, Arasaka's rival. David is tasked with convincing Lucy to come back for Faraday's assignment. After leaving the celebration to get adjustments from his Ripperdoc, David dismisses warnings about his increasing reliance on cybernetics. Kiwi then informs him about a meeting with Faraday, setting the stage for a significant development. At home, Lucy just finished with a net diving session. Listens as David encourages her to rejoin the team. She opens up about her past, revealing her training as a netrunner by Arasaka and her escape following a betrayal that left her the sole survivor of a rebellion. In another scene, an Arasaka netrunner is seen discussing the corrupted data related to Tanaka. Lucy, hidden in the shadows, hacks into his mind, effectively eliminating him. This act highlights the escalating stakes and moral dilemmas the crew faces as they navigate Faraday's mysterious mission. Lucy's conflict between her past traumas, her feelings for David, and the dangers of their current path sets a tense backdrop for the unfolding drama. In an Arasaka lab, a female employee plans a surprise for her son recently admitted to Arasaka Academy, end up stumbling upon a horrific scene. David is found in a distressed state with a smoking gun, next to the dead body of lab director Evans. In the aftermath, a gunshot echoes through the lab. David quickly leaves the scene, joining his crew in their escape vehicle. Elsewhere, Arasaka counterintel agents Kate and Douglas analyze the crew's recent activities, unaware that Lucy is the netrunner disrupting her operations. Meanwhile, Faraday narrowly survives an ambush by city gang members but receives only a tepid response from his Militech contact, highlighting the precarious nature of his position. At David's apartment, he and Lucy discuss the costs of a one-way trip to the moon, a shared dream they have. However, Lucy becomes concerned upon noticing David's trembling hand, a possible sign of cyberpsychosis. In a parallel development, Faraday is approached by Arasaka agents who offer him a deal to identify and capture the elusive Netrunner, thwarting their plans. His new mission is to eliminate everyone with knowledge about the Sandevistan Chrome. Lucy, increasingly worried about David's health, reaches out to Kiwi. This leads to a surprise visit from Faraday, escalating the tension. The crew, including Becca and David, soon find themselves in a violent clash with rival gang members. During the confrontation, David's past traumas resurface, causing him to freeze at crucial moments. Becca, concerned for his safety, follows him home and reveals her deeper feelings for him. David struggles with hallucinations and traumatic flashbacks, clear signs of cyberpsychosis. He collapses in front of his mother's urn, only to wake up in the Ripperdoc's clinic. The Ripperdot warns him about the dangers of over-reliance on cybernetics and advises caution. Lucy pleads with David to recognize his worsening state, but their conversation escalates into an argument. The Ripperdoc prescribes medication, highlighting the gravity of David's condition. In a painful moment, David ends his relationship with Lucy, underlining the strain his condition has put on them. An emotionally shattered Lucy tracks down a Netrunner's signature, unaware she's walking into a trap set by Faraday and Kiwi. In a warehouse, Faraday confronts and incapacitates Lucy, leaving her imprisoned and marked for delivery to Arasaka's counterintelligence, setting the stage for further turmoil and conflict. Meanwhile, David and his crew gear up for a daring heist against an Arasaka convoy, a mission that could solidify their reputation as top-tier edgerunners. In the desolate Badlands, David's team sizes up the Arasaka convoy, their target for the heist. The crew is a mix of nerves and excitement, aware of the risks involved in taking on a megacorporation like Arasaka. Kiwi, weighed down by her recent betrayal, joins the crew. The story flashes back to Lucy's capture by Faraday, orchestrated by Kiwi. It's revealed that Lucy's actions, including erasing David's files and sacrificing Maine and Dorio, were desperate measures to protect David from Arasaka's intent to use him as a test subject for the Sandevistan Chrome. Faraday and Kiwi reflect on Lucy's past as a child Netrunner trained by Arasaka, underscoring her efforts to safeguard David. Unaware of these revelations, the crew eagerly anticipates the heist. Becca, observing David's declining condition, silently vows to keep his secret. The heist begins on a desert highway. In Faraday's orchestrated plan, an unsuspecting gang ambushes the Arasaka convoy, setting the stage for David's crew to strike. They engage the convoy's security forces in a high-speed, intense vehicular battle. The heist, however, veers off course when they discover that the cargo truck is virtually impenetrable, part of Arasaka's ploy to test David with an advanced cyber exoskeleton. The situation escalates as Militech forces arrive, prompting David to equip the exoskeleton to fend off the attack. David, now empowered by the cyberskeleton, becomes an unstoppable force, battling Militech's elite units. Becca and Falco watch in awe and concern as David, enhanced by the suit, wreaks havoc, though it takes a toll on his mind. After successfully defeating Militech, David resolves to find and confront Faraday, determined to rescue Lucy. Rebecca, Falco, and David race towards Arasaka Tower in their vehicle, pursued by both Militech and Arasaka forces. Kiwi, having betrayed the crew, is forced to return to the city by Faraday for her payment. Upon her arrival, Faraday shoots her, and she succumbs to her injuries after relaying Faraday's location to Falco and Rebecca. The crew evades their pursuers through combat and driving skills. Meanwhile, Arasaka counterintelligence agents Kate and Douglas, conspiring with Faraday for money and Arasaka employment, plan to betray him. They hire Adam Smasher, a notorious figure in Night City, to eliminate David and stop Faraday's advancement. David separates from Rebecca and Falco, who crash their vehicle into Faraday's AV. David, climbing the tower, reflects on fulfilling his mother's dream, aware of his inevitable fate. Faraday, docking at the tower, tries to trade Lucy for his reward from Arasaka, but is denied due to his failure to deliver the cyberskeleton's test data. David bursts in, freeing Lucy and battling Arasaka soldiers. He attempts to shoot Douglas, but Adam Smasher intervenes. Faraday claims he's completed his deal, but David uses the gravity field to sever Faraday's leg. Trauma team arrives to aid Faraday, but David is shot by Adam. In a desperate fight, David kills the trauma team and tries to escape with Lucy, but Adam hits him with an RPG, sending them falling from the building. Mid-air, Lucy's kiss pulls David out of a cyberpsychosis episode. They land on the Edgerunner's escape vehicle, where Falco and Rebecca face off against Arasaka troops. Faraday meets a gruesome end on impact. David, ensuring Lucy's safety in the vehicle, requests a final favor from Falco off-screen. As Adam Smasher falls towards them, Rebecca tries to shoot him but is crushed under his weight, causing a plaza collapse. Falco, attacking Adam, is incapacitated. David, now out of suppressants, confronts Adam, who reveals his own Sandevistan implant. Adam overpowers David, tearing off the cyberskeleton's anti-grav generators. As he brutally beats David, Lucy, watching from a distance in the escape vehicle, is denied her plea to return. Falco reveals David's last wish was for Lucy's safety and apologies for not taking her to the moon. David, smiling, accepts his fate as Adam kills him. Later, Lucy, mourning, visits the moon, recalling a vision of David from their braindance. Overwhelmed with sadness yet embracing the sun's warmth, she reflects on their journey and the cost of their dreams in Night City.